Good afternoon once again to the Shens, and this is again Teacher Anna, your learning partner. So, last week we have learned about Lesson 6. Now we are going to learn about Lesson number 7 of Unit 2, Dominant Approaches and Ideas in the Social Sciences. So this is lesson 7. This is Views and Perspectives, which is the classical and contemporary social theories. So, prepared by yours truly. Now let's go to the outcomes. So, in this lesson, we are going or you are going to comprehend theories and related concepts, apply these theories and related concepts in explaining and understanding social phenomena, and apply these theories in questioning and challenging wrong assumptions about the nature of human societies. Let's try to comprehend and apply. Now, let's go to the next one. So let's try to know about social theory. So, what is a social theory? So, a social theory is a set of interrelated ideas and concepts that provides a foundation for explaining and understanding social realities. So, as a guiding principle, it gives us direction and structure to help organize our thoughts, such as in social research. So, most likely, guys, ito yung theory na broad siya. Meron siyang set of interrelated ideas and concepts. So, ito din yung nag-explain at na dito natin malalaman or ito yung paraan para ma-explain at maintindihan natin ang social realities, 'di ba? Iba yung imagination at saka yung realities. So, now let's go to the next one. So, these are the classical sociological theory ng mga authors. So, we have Karl Marx, Weber, Durkheim, Comte, Elias, Tocqueville, and Smith. So, they are what we call classical sociological theory authors. So kasi ang ating social theory guys, it's a broad term. So ito yung nagbibigay pundasyon para ma-explain natin at maintindihan ang social realities. Kaya dito sa ating classical social theories, so it can be traced back to the 19th and early 20th centuries, the early years of the development of social scientists or sciences as distinct fields of study. They are called classical not necessarily because they are antiquated and traditional, but because they are fundamental to our understanding of society. So iba-iba yung understanding ng ating mga iba't ibang author sa society. We have Marx. So iba yung understanding ni Marx, iba din yung kang Weber, iba din yung kang Durkheim, kang Comte, kang Elias, and kang Tocqueville and Smith. Now, let's go to the next slide. So, gaano ba kaimportante o ano bang kontribusyon ng social theory sa ating society? So, social theories, guys, must contribute to the following. First, explaining and analyzing social order. Next, explaining and analyzing social change. Third, identifying patterns of change and continuity, and then assessing the current policies and developing alternative policies, then solving social development problems. So una guys, in-explain ito at ina-analyze ang social order kasi whether we like it or not, so our society has a social order. We also have explaining and analyzing social change. Diba sa una, we are just hunter, we are carpenter, we are ano, fisherman, but now gradually, nahinay nag-usbong ato ang social or society. So, nagkaroon ng social change hanggang ito na yung new normal natin in times of pandemic. And then, identifying patterns of change and continuity. So, sa una, inani ang ato ang pattern sa itong paginabuhi, but now it's not to survive. So we need to continue adopting what is in the society. Next is assessing current policies. So, kailangan po nato i-assess ang mga current policies. So, maybe the policies in the past is not applicable in the future. Next is developing alternative policies. So, when we say developing alternative policies, it is when you develop differentiated policies. So, kasi merong mga policies na ah, effective sa certain country, meron ding mga policies na hindi siya effective sa ating country. So that's why we need to develop from that existing policies, we need to develop alternative policies. So pag hindi ito applicable, so ano yung applicable sa ating society? Next is solving social and development problems. So, kailangan din natin i-solve yung social and development problems. Hindi na masama ang pag-unlad, pero it is also a problem. Kasi you need to change, you need to adapt. So, kaya kailangan natin i-solve yung mga social and development problems. Okay? So, most likely, if we develop our place or our cities into a lot of businesses, nindot ang ekonomiya, pero ang problema is mapektuhan ang ato ang environment. It is because maybe daghan og mga trees na maputol kasi tukuran og bag-o nga building. So, daghan kay siya og mga problema mga arise sa social and development problems. Now, let's move forward to the next one. So let's have Michael Curtis. So Michael Curtis is he considered social theory as both biography and of its era and an autobiography of its proponents. So gi-consider niya ang social theory guys nga duha siya ka book ang parte. So we have biography. So from the word bio, life, and then graphic, so the places. So and then of its era and autobiography of its proponents. So magdepende daw ang atong kinabuhi sa era kung sa tanaa karon. And then ang ato ang autobiography of its proponents. So now let's move forward to the next one. That is according to Michael Curtis. Now let's go to Karl Marx. So this is the idea of Karl Marx. Karl Marx does capital. So according to him, sobering analysis of and a sharp response to the social conflict which characterize industrial capital societies. So in this time guys, or in his time, kanang ang atuadang response to social conflict magkarakterize siya kung unsa ang atuang society. So, for example, if we have an industrial capitalist societies, so ang atuang usually social conflict nato is katong mga industries, mga businesses, different businesses. So, and a lot more. So, most likely, this is a sovereign analysis of industrial capitalist societies during sa iyahang time. So now let's go to the next one. So let's try to know about contemporary social theory. So kasi marami tong social theory. So isa nito is the contemporary social theory. So it's understood as a set of both general theories of the social and theories of modernity or the present. So when we say contemporary, kung ano yung present or ano yung recent. So contemporary social theory proceeds through a decisive focus on the most recent contributions in this society. So kung makaingon taog contemporary social theory, uh, ina-understood niya lahat. Okay? So, so that is the contemporary social theory. So, ito na yung mga theory with uh, in in regard with modernity and what we call the present. Now, let's have the next one. So the last one is the theoretical triangulation. So theoretical triangulation, guys, is the use of more than one theory hypothesis when investigating a phenomenon. In theoretical triangulation, the perspectives or hypotheses used in the study may be related or have opposing viewpoints. So methodological triangulation involves using more than one method to gather. So example nito is the triangulation analysis. So 'di ba, sabi dito yung theoretical triangulation is pwede kang gumamit ng iba't ibang paraan para mag-gather ng data. So maybe uh, in theoretical triangulation, you can use observation to gather data. You can use questionnaire responses to gather data, or you can use participant comments to gather data. Iba-iba yung paraan ng pag-gather ng data. So, you can use different way na magre-represent ng theoretical triangulation. So, most likely, ito yung pinaka-common. So, gikan sa observation, we have the questionnaire or responses, and then the participants' comments. Now, let's go to the next one. So, let's learn lesson number 8. So, lesson number 8, this is making sense of human action, which is the behavioralism and the rational choice. So, when we say uh, we are going to depend the rational choice and behavioralism. So in this lesson, guys, we are going or you are expected to gain an understanding of behavioralism and rational choice as approaches in social sciences. So si behavioralism, guys, and the rational choice is they are approaches in the social sciences. So kailangan nating intindihin kung ano ba si behavioralism and si rational choice. So kasi very short ito na topic, guys, sa lesson 8 and sa lesson 7. So kaya isahin na lang natin. Okay? Because next week we will still have lesson 9. Now, for number 2, we have applied these approaches in analyzing socio-political issues and phenomena. So, itong mga approaches na to ating i-apply sa socio-political issues and phenomena. Now, let's go to the next slide. So, ano pala ang behavioralism? So, what comes in your mind when you hear the word behavioralism? So behavioralism, guys, is a theoretical approach that studies observable behavior to analyze social phenomena and processes. It enjoyed popularity for some time, but fell out of favor in the academe for its rigidity in analyzing only directly observable behavior and for its questionable objectivity. So when we say behavioralism, guys, ito yung psychological perspective that emphasizing the rule of learning and experience in determining behavior. So makita daw sa behavior ang imuhang natunan. And then a strict behavioralist believes that babies are tabula rasa. So para sa ilaha, ang baby daw is nagatuo sila nga baby is tabula rasa, meaning blank slate siya. Wala gid siya nahibalaan, wala gid siya idea or wala gid siya kanang knowledge. So kailangan pa siya butangan because it's a blank slate. And the study of psychology should focus purely on observable behaviors and not unobservable thoughts. So, para sa psychologists, nag-focus sila purely on observable behavior. So, meaning, kung sa itong makita nila, so mao to siya ang ilahang makaingon nga, naka-experience siya or nakatuon gid siya. And then, dili ang unobservable thoughts. So, ginawala nila or wala nila ginabasihan ang katong mga unobservable thoughts. So, example ani is katong kang Pavlov. So, si Pavlov observe sa dog. So that's why the dog here say, watch what I can make Pavlov do. Watch what I can make Pavlov do. As soon as I drool, he'll smile and write in his little book. So, ito yung experiment ni Pavlov, which is the study of what will happen kung pakanon niya ang iro, ang isa dili, inana siya. So, let's try to know more about it in your higher years. Now, let's have the next one. So, let's try to talk about what or the key behavioralist. Okay, so also the guys, when we say behavioralism then, it is the belief that the learner is simply passive. So dili mo respond, no? Simply passive lang ang learner and then responding to external stimuli. Then behavior is determined by a positive and negative reinforcement being rewarded for doing good things. So ang behavior daw is ma-reinforce siya, ma-determine siya via positive and negative reinforcement. Kung mo siyang i-rewardan, naa siya nindot na or maayo nga buhaton. Pero kung i-punish nimo siya, ah kuan po niya, tungod po na sa iya mga daotan nga gibuhat. So typical grading scales A to F are a good example of this. So, kanina nga mga estudyante is A, kanina mga estudyante is B. So, this is for behavioralism. So, the nga key behavioralist dere is si Ivan Pavlov, which is the dog experiment. So, he is also the author of The Great Minds of Science, Ivan Pavlov, Exploring the Mysteries of Behavior. So, yahang gina sa dihan jud ang behavior or behavioralism. So, and then sa behavioralism pod, we also have B.F. Skinner. So B.F. Skinner, innovator of radical behavioralism. So siya po siya sa innovator of radical behavioralism. So para kang B.F. Skinner guys, give me a child and I'll shape him into anything. So kung naisa ka bata, kaya nimo siya buhaton into anything that you want for him or her. Mo na iyahang pagtuo or iyahang philosophy. And then for Pavlov too, he also introduced a variety of stimuli prior to feeding dogs during his experiment. So, nasa mga stimuli prior to feeding dogs. So, he later discovered that salivary glands would activate with the prior stimuli alone and even if food wasn't given. So, ang salivary gland daw nag-activate siya basin pa og walay pagkaon. So, meaning ganahan jud kaayo ang iro mo kaon and then mao na ang makapahapi sa iro. So most likely kung imo na siyang hatagan ana niya, tagan nimo siyang task, iya jud buhaton because he wants to eat. Mao na siya nakapa-active sa iyahang salivary glands. So the dogs learn to associate the stimuli most commonly. So mao na siya ang idea or experiment na Ivan Pavlov. Now, for B.F. Skinner too, he also emphasized the importance of training teachers. So, kinahanglan jud na i-train ang mga maestra. So, for him, he emphasized the importance of training teachers and then teachers need to learn how to teach. Dapat ang maestra daw kabalo or nakabalo unsaon pagtudlo, syempre, because that would be his or her job. He thought that in order for teachers to teach effectively, they need to learn how students learn. So dapat daw may balaan sa mga maestra kung unsaon pagkatuon sa mga estudyante. So just like me, I am a visual learner. So most likely, kung atagan ko mga picture, mas ma-catch up na ko ang idea kung kinsa si Ivan Pavlov o kinsa si B.F. Skinner if I see different pictures. And I think a lot of you are visual learners too. And then, firm grasp of the psychology of learning is essential to being able to teach. So, dapat taas og kanang idea o knowledge ang isa ka maestra into psychology para magamit niya when he or she is teaching. So let's go to the next slide. So we also have the behavioralism in the classroom. So lahi-lahi ang behavior sa estudyante sa isa ka classroom na uban kanang wala pa naabot sa iyahang peak, kanang happy-go-lucky lang, gusto lang happy pirmi, and then napoy uban nga naningkamot jud, they want to excel in class, they want to get A+, napoy uban nga naay estudyante nga mag-top sa klase who got A+. Some of them are happy and some of them are not. So that is for the behavioralism in the classroom. So behavioralist ideas are prevalent in classrooms. So the grading scale is an example of the positive and negative reinforcement. So mahapi daw sa kastudyante kung taas ang iyang grado o dili pud mahapi or masad sa kastudyante kung mubo iyahang grado. So that is Skinner's radical behavioralism also caters exclusive to educators in that teachers need to be taught the psychology involved with education. So that's why ingon ni Biff Skinner's that psychology is very important or involved with education. Now let's go to the next one. So let's try to know about the meaning, definition, and explanation of rational choice theory. So when we say rational choice theory, it argues that rationality and self-interest govern individuals in making decisions and evaluating courses of action. So classic RCT or the when I say RCT, which is the rational choice theory, assumes that individual assess cost and benefits before pursuing inaction or an action in order to maximize utility. So contemporary RCT recognizes that individuals are motivated not only by self-interest but also by other factors such as beliefs, values, and their immediate environment. So, meaning guys, ang rational choice theory guys, ginaunaon niya are from the word rationality. So, from your own viewpoint, from your own self-interest. So, sa matag individual nato, we have the capacity to make decisions. We have the capacity to evaluate courses of action. So, ato ang unaan yun sa makadaghan, nganong buhato nato ni, nganong inaana ato ang action. Because we are rational animals, we can give reasons. So, ang isa ani nga maka-motivate and then maka-interest sa matag isa or sa matag individual is ang ato ang ginatuuhan. So, unsa to ang mga beliefs? So, kung unsa po nato ang values. So, kung kuan ta, dili gyud ta ganahan og bakakon. So, syempre, masako jud ta sa tong friend nga namakak sa ato. And then, we also have our immediate environment. Kung para sa toa, okay lang ang same-sex marriage sa ato ang environment, then wala na siya kaso kung makakita ta sa laing lugar with same-sex marriage. Pero, pag dili na siya okay sa toa, murag luudon ta, dili ta ganahan mo tan-aw ginana. So, we need to respect our rational choice. Okay? Because we have different beliefs, we have different values, and we have different immediate environment. So maybe what is acceptable in this environment is not acceptable in the other environment. Now, let's move forward to the introduction to rational choice theory. So the rational choice theory, also known as the choice theory or the rational action theory, is a theory for understanding and often modeling social and economic as well as individual behavior. It is the main paradigm in the currently dominant microeconomics school of thought. It is also central to modern political science as well as other disciplines such as sociology and philosophy. So most likely guys, si rational choice theory din is ito yung mga theory nga nagpasabot sa toa or para maintindihan nato ang individual behavior. Nganong inani siya, nganong inani iyang ginapakita, nganong mao ni iyang ginabuhat. It is because of different reasons. Okay? Now, we also have the rational choice theory. So it was early popularized by a 1992 Memorial Prize laureate in economics science, Gary Becker, who was one of the first to apply rational actor models more widely. So, Auster, 1989, stated the essence of rational choice theory when he said that when faced with several courses of action, people usually do what they believe is likely to have the best overall outcome. So most likely guys, yun sa rational choice theory, kung unsa to ang gihuna-una nga pinaka the best nga possible outcome nga mahitabo sa tuang life, mao to siya ang atoang pilion. Okay? So now let's go to the growth of the rational choice theory. So rational choice is argued to have developed as part of the behavioral revolution in American political science of the 1950s and 1960s. So which sought to investigate how individuals behave using empirical methods. So meaning uh, behave daw ang isa ka individual depending on its situation, depending on its choices, and depending on its reason. So, also 1965 showed that individuals with self-interest would not always take part in collective action. And then to accomplish a common goal, for instance, why would some of us refuse to pay our tax despite the fact that monies derived from taxes are used to develop our society. So, karaganan sa to dili mo bayad og tax. Nga when you kung imo gid siya anaon, nindot man unta nga magbayad og tax kasi maka-develop siya sa society. Now, we also have improved basic amenities and security. So this has led to the development of the collective action theory, which can assess us to explain how collective actions failures can be grossly reduced if the decision makers involved are small. So most likely, kung gamay lang ang result niya, so gamay lang po na atong effort. When we are aiming for a bigger result, so you need also to choose. You need also to kanang assess, explain, and do your very best to create a bigger outcome. Like for example, if you want to be a doctor, so kung gusto jud ka mahimong doctor, so you need to have a very good framework of science. So karon pa lang sa STEM or sa GAS, no kinanglan jud nimo nga maningkamot nga makatuon sa lahi-lahi nga scientific explanation, even the basic. So kinahanglan nimo makatuon ana because you will use that knowledge when you go to college or when you become a doctor. Now, let's have the next one. So, we also have the assumptions of rational choice theory. So, naay duha ka assumptions three assumptions of the rational choice theory. So, there are a few assumptions made by rational choice theory. Actually, there are many, pero mao na siya ang pinaka-importante here in our book. So, now, let's try to know about individualism. So, ang nagsulat ani guys, si Abel 2000. Abell, Abel 2000. So, individualism. So, what comes in your mind when you hear the word individualism? So when we say individualism, it is individuals who ultimately take actions. So, yung mga aktor, itong isa-isa nga mga tao nga na ay mga posisyon, society, and even everywhere, and even in their own self. So, they are the one who ultimately take actions. So, and then individuals as actors in the society and everywhere behave and act as always as rational beings. We have self-calculating, self-interested, and self-maximizing. These individual social actions are the ultimate source of larger social outcomes. So, always remember, guys, that every decision that you make, can also affect the society and everywhere you are. So that's why you need to think very well kung saang may mong positive effect ani o ang negative effect ani. So you need also to self calculating, like for example if mahimo kong lawyer, unsa ka ang pwede nako nga matabang sa society, unsa ka ang pwede pod nako nga madulot nga problema sa society. So that is self-calculating. We also have self-interested. So imong naunaan imo ang sarili nga kung unsa tay imong mga possible nga interest nga makatabang sa society, maka-maximize sa kinahanglan ng society. So most likely guys, individualism is not just about being knowing or knowing about yourself, but also knowing yourself and how you can relate and how you can help the society and everywhere. Now, let's have the optimality. So what comes in your mind when you hear the word optimal, optimality? So, di ba, individual choose their own actions. So, isa-isa sa to, we choose our own actions. So, optimally, given their individual preferences, so we have our individual preferences as well as the opportunities or constraints with which the individual face. So, Abel 2000 defined optimality as taking place when no other course of social action would be preferred by the individual over the course of action the individual has chosen. So this does not mean that the course of action that the actor adopts is the best in terms of some objective and outside judgment. So dili kita makaingon na all our choices are perfect. So dili pod maybe in the eye of other human being it is not objective, it is not a good judgment, pero always remember guys that we are entitled of our own action. So that's why the rational choice theory therefore assumes, according to Abel 2000, that individual do the best they can. So kita tanan daw ginabuhat na to ato ang pinaka the best given their circumstances as they see them. So in different circumstances, like for example, if you are in a circumstances nga estudyante ka, when I was a student, I always give my best. I study a lot, and then I exercise a lot, and then I also exercise my knowledge as wisdom kanang i-apply jud in the real world. So that is optimality. Now we also have structures. So structures, guys, Abel argues that structures and norms that dictate a single course of action are merely special cases of rational choice theory. Although these structures may be damaging to the rational choice model, individuals will often find a way to exercise action optimally. Hence, the rational choice model may not necessarily show harmony, consensus, or equality in courses of action. So, see structures, guys. Always remember that in different individual, we also have different structures. In different environment and society, we also have different structures and norms. So, anay mga structure nga pag magkasal inani ang possible nga way. Kung naay ka ng conflict inani ang possible nga way, una ano sa purok chairman, and then kung dili gid masob dito sa barangay and dili gid masob magkaso na siya guys. So but that is just one example. When we say structures, daghan pa gid siya og kanang structure and model in different situations, different environment, and different society. So some manggod ang uban manggod nga structures guys may be damaging to rational choice model. Wala kay kanang choice ba? It is because mao gini siya ang ginasunod, mao gini siya ang acceptable. Mao gini siya ang structure nga ginasunod sa kadaghanan. So sometimes when your rational choice your kanang imuhang mga choices is maapektuhan tungod sa structures ay mao man ni ginabuhat sa kadaghanan, so mao pud ni ato ang buhaton. So that's why the rational choice model may not necessarily show harmony. So sometimes kanang mag-conflict gani ang unsa ang naa sa gikagisnan o kanang unsa ang naa sa structure versus your choices. So mao na nga kasagaran or sometimes there is no harmony kung imuhang sundon ang structure versus your own will or versus your own choice. And then the consensus pod dagan ng mga tao nga uy dili man pwede inana, dili man pwede mag-black og gown kung magkasal kasi mura man kag namatyan, mura man kag naga-pray nga mamatay imong partner. So because a lot of us would really believe nga dapat puti gyud ang gown sa kasal. So you need to consensus. So meaning kung unsa ang ginabuhat sa kadaghanan mao pud na nga to ang sundon. Pero we have a rational choice. That's why mag-conflict sila usahay. So, so what kung black dress ang yan suoton when in terms to sa ilahang kasal? Kasi basin dira dahil gid siya malipay. So, but wala tay choice kasi ma-judge man gid ka sa uban nga tao because consensusly wala man kanisunod sa ilahang kanang ideal when it comes to marriage. We also have equality. So lahi po na nga to ang pagtanaw sa equality, no? So there are structures nga dapat dato tama-tama pobre. So dili pwede nga mo saka ang pobre pa doon sa dato because of kanang communism, labi na communist country. So dili pwede kung dira ka, gipanganak ka nga pobre dapat mamatay ka nga pobre. While in the democratic country, kung gipanganak ka nga pobre, naa kay chance nga mo dato with your hard work. But kung imo jud siyang una-unaon, we have different equality. Different nations have different equality. Different environment, society have different equality. Lahi-lahi ang ato ang pag-apply sa equality. So maybe for some dili siya equal, pero depende dahil na siya sa iyahang kakayanan. So, but for some it is equal because mao lang gid ni ang ilahang kaya, so dapat mao lang pud na imong ihatag when in terms of courses of action. So so try to dig it deeper, guys, by reading the related readings and then watching the related videos. So thank you so much for listening to our lesson today. I hope you learned a lot. So and I hope traditions that you learn about more about behaviorism, rational choice theory, and in lesson number 7, which is the classical and contemporary social theories. When we say classical, it is in the past or in the old days. When we say contemporary, it's the present or the new days. Okay, so always remember to do your very best, especially in answering our assessments, and also do your very best and in applying what you have learned in lesson number 7 and 8. So thank you so much. Have a great day, and always remember to make your parents proud. Have a great day, traditions. Bye.